So I was going to do a trailer review for Robocop today, and then I suddenly realised, wait a minute, the film's out today. And I thought, what would people rather see? A review of the trailer or a review of the film? Trailer, film. Trailer, film. Trailer, a film. Trailer, a film. Trailer, a film. And then I finally decided, the film. Probably. Maybe. Yeah. So I drove down to the cinema, and I don't know what it's been like where you are, but it's been raining for about 2 days solidly where I live. So to get to the cinema, I waded through about a foot of water. So I think it's pretty fair to say that my expectations for this film were pretty steep. So thinking back to the trailer, I wasn't really a huge fan of the black suit that he was wearing in most of the scenes. I wasn't a fan of the fact that it seemed to be introducing the family and having a whole family dynamic based in the film. I also wasn't a big fan of the PG-13 rating. I thought that was just nothing but bad news. So, despite wading through a foot of water, I had my reservations about this film, and I was a bit unsure about whether I was making the right decision. That being said, aside from the guy that plays Robocop, who I've not seen in anything before, and IMDb gave me no clues whatsoever, it's got Gary Oldman, who's an awesome actor, Samuel L. Jackson, who is seemingly the king of bit parts at the moment, and that's what I was expecting him to be in this film. Michael Keaton, who, as always, is Michael Keaton. And who else is in this? Oh yeah, Rorschach. Rorschach is in this film, playing essentially Rorschach. So if I could say I was expecting any sort of other film going into Robocop, I think the film I would most like it to be like would be something like Dredd. You know, full-on, all-out action, just loads of shooting, violence, and non-stop mayhem. And did I get what I wanted? Well, in a word, no. There is definitely action in this film, and there is genuinely some very good, exciting, entertaining action in this film. A lot of the scenes with Robocop in doing his thing are out and out cool, and you do feel like, this is awesome, I'd love to be in that suit as Robocop doing that. Until you find out what actually being in that suit means, and after you've seen the film, yeah, you probably don't want to be in that suit. Anyway, I was just a bit worried that the film was a bit too focused on sort of his family storyline and the other kind of subplots and minor storylines that they tried to shoehorn into it. I mean, there's just so many little bits that they try and shove in, like the Samuel L. Jackson bits. They're completely unnecessary. And I mean, I get they're trying to do it so that you care about Robocop, or care about Alex Murphy, I suppose they were trying to do. But really, if anything, you end up caring about Robocop more than Alex Murphy, because, as it turns out, Alex Murphy, before he got turned into Robocop and before he got blown up by his car, is a massive dick. I mean, literally, the first scene he's in, within the first sort of 30 words, I was like, yeah, I can't wait for you to get blown up by your car, you bastard. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that it was a bad film, right? Well, to repeat my earlier word, no. As much as you can complain about the storyline and the fact that they tried to shoehorn in this family stuff and this subplot stuff and all this other stuff, it kind of worked. I quite liked the family aspect as much as I thought I wouldn't. It didn't turn out too badly. Don't get me wrong, some of the subplots are definitely unnecessary and they feel a bit fillerish, but on the whole the film flows in a pretty decent manner. I was not a fan of the Samuel L. Jackson parts though. It was literally just a bit part so that they could have a Bill O'Reilly-esque kind of comedy figure who was ironic, and so they could have Samuel L. Jackson saying motherfucker. That's literally the only reason he was in the film. I mean, I get it, maybe they wanted to add a bit more depth to the film, but it didn't work as well as you wanted it to, guys. It really didn't. And another thing, every single country in the world uses this American technology and uses the American robots and their drones, except America? I mean, really? Is that not kind of like nobody at Sony using any Sony products whatsoever? I mean, in terms of PR campaigns, that's probably the worst you could ever do. I mean, talk about consumer confidence. In terms of the other actors though, aside from Samuel L. Jackson, Michael Keaton was neither Beetlejuice nor was he Batman, so I felt he was lacking a bit in this role. Gary Oldman, as ever, was enjoyable to watch. Just like a true Brit, he was a bit of a dick every now and then for no apparent reason, but in the end he came through. Good on you, Gary. The rest of the cast did a fairly decent job. I mean, there was nothing that truly stood out, but they weren't bad by any stretch of the imagination. Overall, if you go in really hoping and wanting a film that is just like Dredd, full on action with very little story, you're probably going to be a little bit disappointed. But if you're willing to accept the fact that there is a bit of story, there is a couple of twists that are really obvious, but they're there nonetheless, and you want some decent action, I think you're going to enjoy this film. Overall, Robocop was a pretty simple film that wasn't too taxing on the brain, which, by the way, you see a lot of in the film, and I feel that although it's trying to punch a little bit above its weight, it's still damn fine entertainment if that's what you're after. So if you haven't seen it and you are a fan of Robocop at all, I think it's well worth going to see. I have to say, if you're not a fan of the black suit, don't worry too much, because he spends a good amount of screen time in the silver classic suit. If you have seen the film, what did you think of it? Would you wade through a foot of water to go see it again? What did you think of his CGI running part at the beginning of the film? If you haven't seen it, close your eyes at that point. And what did you think of the rating? I mean, I don't know about you, but when I heard it was PG-13, I was a little bit disappointed. But having come out of the film, I actually think it could have been rated higher. There were a few bits in the film that I personally found myself a little bit uncomfortable in. So let me know what you think. If you like what you saw and you want to see more news, trailers and reviews, then please like, comment and subscribe. But until next time, I will catch you later.